About a month ago, I put my scalping bot on a live account and let it trade for me. In that time, it's had some really good days, some really bad days, and everything in between. It actually finished July with a decent profit and a great win rate. But as you'll see later in this video, the bot also suffered from some big losses that it's still recovering from. This is a momentum bot, and the way that it works is it monitors price action, and if it sees a sudden burst of momentum, it will enter the trade quickly to try and capture the rest of it. It also looks for reversals, so if there is a sudden move down the way, the bot will often buy looking for that turnaround and reversal back up the way. And if the reversal is strong enough, then it can even take momentum trades along the way as it continues up. These are some of the final trades that it took in the month. On the 28th, there was this reversal set up after this big red candle here. The bot got in here, and although the trade kind of floundered for a bit, it eventually went on to hit the take profit. The next day, the 29th, wasn't quite as profitable. The bot detected some momentum in this green candle here, so it got in looking for a continuation long, but that didn't work out and the price went against me, stopping it out. But then on the 30th of July, the bot took a lot of trades. These are a few of the trades it took on the S&P 500. There was this sharp move down, which was very quickly reversed all the way back up. During this time, the bot took 6 or 7 trades, and I've just marked a few of them here. It started with a potential momentum break here, which didn't work out. It went for a stop, and then the bot tried to catch some reversals. I think this one also got stopped out, but then we got a nice reversal at the bottom here. And when prices started to turn around and head back up, there was similar momentum to the upside. So the bot caught a momentum trade over here. Overall, across the 3 instruments that it traded, the bot took 13 trades, 10 of them were winners and only 3 losers. That gave me a really good win rate of 77% for the day and a nice profit of £3.94. One thing that I noticed over and over in July was how a lot of the times the bot was actually catching reversals instead of momentum plays. This wasn't what I had in mind for the bot, but those reversal trades kept doing really well, and so I leaned into them. To better understand what was happening, let me explain how this bot actually works. It's constantly streaming price data from my broker, so I get every single tick that makes up these price charts. Each of those ticks has a timestamp as well as the bid and ask prices. And that's useful because it shows me what actually happens inside the candles. If I take this green candle here, for example, I can see the open, high, low, and close. This is on the 5-second chart. But that candle can form in different ways. It could be that the price ticks moved like this from start to finish, or they could have moved like this. The difference between them is that the second one has a lot more momentum. The price immediately moved within a very short space of time. And that is what my bot checks for. So as I received those price ticks, I measure the difference in between the prices, and I also measure the time taken for that price difference. So I have my distance, which is the price difference, and I have my time. Well, distance and time gives me velocity. That is the speed at which the price is moving. And that is what the bot is looking for. It needs a movement of a certain size to be done within a certain time frame. Those 2 parameters are based on my back tests, and they vary depending on the instrument that I'm trading. But it could be something like getting a 5-point move within a 3-second window, because this would be quite unusual for normal price action. And as soon as the bot detects something like this, it will enter into a trade. Well, that came back to bite me pretty badly on the 1st of August, which was a Friday, and it was the NFP Friday. This chart here is the dollar versus yen, and as soon as that news was released, the price just completely collapsed. My bot, of course, seeing all of this momentum, was picking up a whole bunch of long trades. The further the price dropped, the more trades the bot was picking up, because it was looking for reversals. Unfortunately, the reversal never came, and I ended up taking a whole bunch of losses very, very quickly in a short space of time. A similar thing actually happened on the pound dollar, but in the opposite direction. And the bot was trading this as well, so in theory, the two should have offset each other, because here it was picking up momentum trades and they were going in the right direction. However, my entry conditions were different for the pound dollar versus the dollar yen, and as a result, I didn't get anywhere near as many trades on pound dollar as I did on dollar yen. So I was only able to offset a small amount of that overall loss. The result was a complete bloodbath. Overall, the bot took 33 trades and only 7 of them were winners, giving me a win rate of 21%. The balance at the end of July was sitting at £107, but after just one day in August, it fell to £85.81, a loss of almost 20%. This really knocked my confidence in the strategy, and especially in my reliance on catching these reversals. I worked on the bot over the weekend and I rerun my back backtest, which now unsurprisingly showed that on the dollar yen, looking for reversals was not very profitable. And so I changed the configuration to make it only trade short for that pair. I ran the bot for a few hours on Monday the 4th, but then we had a power cut which kind of wiped out my trading for the 4th and the 5th. Things were back to normal on the 6th, but to be honest, for the rest of that week, most of the trades were pretty unexciting, and my equity curve was mostly flat. And that changed on the 12th of August. There was a lot of volatility in the dollar yen, and the bot ended up racking up a whole bunch of trades. This red candle here started things off, and I got one trade here, a second trade, and then a third trade a couple of candles later. All of these were in the short direction, so initially I was sweating a little bit because price rebounded back up, and I was thinking again, this is a typical reversal. Price has broken down quickly, and then it's just going back up again. I shouldn't have changed my parameters for the dollar yen. And in fact, at the top of this move, the bot got in for another trade. This was trade number 4, looking to fade the top of this reversal. So it was another short trade. Price rebounded really sharply, and this red candle gave me trade opportunity number 5. A little bit choppy again, but we had another push later on, and finally there was another trade down here, trade number 6 at the bottom of this red candle. All of these trades were short, and with the exception of number 6, which came a little bit later in the day, they were all in profit at this point. Then as we moved into the evening, the market settled down and things went sideways for quite a while. With this many short positions, my plan was to close them all out at the end of the day, but I was busy doing something else and ended up holding them overnight, which meant that I had to pay financing on all 6 trades. Not only that, but price actually started to rebound in the early hours. Not all of them hit their take profit target by the end of the next day, but this time I remembered to manually close them at the end of day, which happened around here. That turned out to be unfortunate because price then continued to move back down and I would have hit more take profits, but I wasn't to know that at the time and I booked profit on every one of those trades. While I was really pleased with the outcome, I was worried that the bot was overexposed to one currency pair, and had these gone the other way, I would have taken a really big loss again. I do have a condition in my code that whenever I get a new trade signal, let's say trade signal number 6, it will look at all of the existing open positions and it will check how far this one is away from them. That way I avoid stacking too many trades altogether. So there is at least a spacing of 10 pips between all of these trades. But I think on something as volatile as dollar yen, 10 pips is probably not enough. So I've increased that number to 20 pips. That brings me to Thursday the 14th of August, and there was some high impact news released around here, which had an immediate reaction on all of the instruments that I was trading. The dollar yen rallied, however, since I changed the setting on my bot, it now looks for short trades only. It took 2 short trades on this big candle here, another short trade here, and a 4th one up here. As you can guess, all of these went against me and ultimately got stopped out. The same news reaction affected the S&P 500 in the opposite direction. The price collapsed, and on the way down, I entered for a reversal trade around here. To be honest, I was lucky to get away with this one because price did move quite close to my stop loss in the end, and it was a shame that nothing else got triggered further around here. This would have been a really nice reversal trade if it had. But nevertheless, price did rebound, and eventually this one moved on to hit my take profit. This brings my results for August so far up to 66 trades with only 23 winners and 43 losers, giving a poor win rate of 35%. I started August with a balance of £107.03, and now I'm sitting on £86.16, a loss of £20.87. But the results are massively skewed by what happened on the 1st of August when the bot lost £21.12. While a lot of the initial profits, especially through July, were coming from catching reversals, the NFP on Friday 1st of August shows what can happen if price has too much momentum and there is no reversal. I still have confidence in the underlying logic of my strategy, but clearly I need to work out some of these challenges so that I can hopefully push the bot into profitability. Regardless of the outcome, I'm learning a lot from running this bot daily. If you want to see how this progresses, hit subscribe to follow for regular updates.